somewhere, I was told.
It is Friday somewhere. Well, it's actually not Friday somewhere.
I don't know. Just go on.
I don't
with
actually
it.
think I don't think that's possible. I'm gonna have to correct you on that. It might be 5 o'clock somewhere. It's 18 minutes to 5 o'clock. If somewhere in the Atlantic Ocean. Meanwhile,
Okay.
we're here, and guess what? This episode of LedgerCast is brought to you by Token Sets. Go to ledgerstats.com/sets. Simplified asset management. The DeFi Pulse Index, the FLEA, or however you call that, the Ethereum Leveraged Index thing. They got some cool products. Not to mention
The whatchamacallit?
the whatchamacallit, my own Tulip. It's a great way to manage assets in a simplified manner. Their infrastructure is very good. They just raised $15 million. That seems like the magic number for people to raise of late. Have you noticed that? So
I haven't.
Hero raised 15 million. Zero X Labs raised 15 million. Set Protocol, the backers of Token Sets, raised 15 million. Congrats to them. We're happy to have them as a partner. Go to ledgerstats.com/sets. Check it out. They're simplified asset management tools. It's Thursday night somewhere. That's right. You can have Thursday is the new Friday anyway. Joshua, we haven't talked in a couple of weeks. We're talking a little early today because I'm going to be in Miami for the Cringe conference. I mean, the Bitcoin conference. I have not been to one of these mainstream crypto conferences yet. I know you've done them. You've gone and like done the booths and done everything. I have not done that. I'm not even doing that this time. I'm just hanging out. I'm not even going to the conference.
Yeah, I mean, it's okay if you can tolerate these people in person. It's not terrible, you know.
I tend to believe
It's not like on the top of my list of things to do, but it's fun.
I tend to believe most people are all right once you get them in person and just
Yeah.
hang out in a casual manner. If you get people
Right.
in like a cringy manner, then they can still be cringy. But I think most people are actually more tolerable in person than they are online, you know?
That's fair. So it should be fun though, right?
Yeah. This is my fourth trip in 4 weeks. I've been,
Damn.
yeah. I mean, I went to a wedding, went to the beach, then I went to Maine, and now I'm going to Miami. So two personal trips, 2 work trips. Worked on all 4 of them, unfortunately. And here we are. We dumped like mad while I was driving to the beach. Like every time I got out of the car, portfolio was down another 10%.
We're the worst May we've ever had. What could be the worst Q2 we've ever had. We'll start there. You know, those aren't good things.
Yeah.
You're expecting.
I've got your screen shared, so we're looking at ETH with a lot of indicators on it.
Yeah, I mean, we can do the rundown, but ETH looks fine, honestly, relative to everything else. Basically, it's still above the 200-day moving average, so you can't really cry too much about it, right? Like,
Yeah.
you know, it kind of is okay.
Well, I'm showing the same thing as you now. I had people asking me like, am I all right? And I'm like, I was really pretty happy with $2,000 ETH a month ago. You know, like on a percentage basis, did I just lose a lot of money? Yes. But on a like relative basis on the year, I'm up many multiples on my entire portfolio. So like, how can I be terribly upset other than like that realized cost of not selling the top, you know? However, many of our brethren and sisters are no longer with us because they were longing the top on leverage, and clearly that's what happened at the peak selling pressure. Correct? It was just a mass deleveraging of anyone that was any more than like 1.5x.
Yeah, it was. The difficult part about this top for BTC was it wasn't super obvious unless you were following along with the distribution narrative. It wasn't blow off.
Just kept rolling.
But once again, BTC is the king of the castle. So if BTC moves down, everything moves down. You know, you can't just ignore it. You can trade the charts separately all you want, but at the end of the day, BTC will show you what's up, you know?
Yeah, Bitcoin failing like 45-ish or so really kind of started the cascade. But then honestly, the vast majority of the dump was in one 24-hour period. That marked the low, and it got retested a couple days later. Certainly got people depressed, and now we're in this sideways what's next type of territory if you're using Bitcoin as your barometer. To me, you could make a case that this is a similar deleveraging event to what we had March 2020, but I don't think that means the upside is 10x from here. I just think it means enough people got out to where you can climb this wall of worry and then kind of continue on with whatever market structure that we had before, you know?
Yeah, I think every on-chain metric you look at ultimately tells you that short-term buyers got mega wrecked. They realized mega losses, and the long-term holders didn't really do much on balance relative to everything else. If we look at like Bitcoin days destroyed or whatever, there wasn't like a race to the exits or anything from long-term holders. So
yeah,
the people got most obliterated were people that basically got in post Elon. You know, we had the Elon crap, we had China mining stuff, which is continuous, and we had DeFi deleveraging. And then after that, we had another low where I was like, okay, now I'm actually worried because people who bought the dip like me, like 39 or whatever on BTC, are now underwater again. And it's like, okay, what if this isn't just a dip and it's an actual, you know, trend reversal type situation?
I really do.
Which everyone will tell you it is, because we can't pull back 70% and still be bullish, right?
Did we pull back 70% from the top?
I don't think BTC did, but I know a lot of basically every single DeFi coin. Yeah. So BTC is 53%.
Yeah.
ETH was 61%. So can we recover that?
You know,
I don't know.
What Bitcoin feels like to me, the 20 and the 200 crossed, those are, I've long talked about my primary trend following metrics, fast and slow. It crossed below the slow moving average. The last time it really did that, and then like did this kind of hangers on multi-month pain thing, was November 2019, after that recovery that it had back then. So recovered, consolidated, dumped, consolidated, scam pumped, dumped, consolidated. Like it was just real messy. And I do think that was September 2019, really all the way till March 2020. So like that's 6-7 months of sideways choppy range. And I think we could do something similar here. I don't think the result would be the same, because what resulted from that was a COVID capitulation. But I do think that like you could just draw a box between, you know, where Bitcoin's been and say like, suck it up. We're about to be in here for the next year. And most people would not like that because it doesn't give them the volatility that they want. But I think it's a scenario that we have to consider, don't you?
For sure. And something else that the on-chain metrics will tell you is that market use of the chains are way down, transactions way down. Gas is basically zero on ETH. The mempool has cleared out on BTC almost completely. Mempool on ETH nearly cleared as well, from where it was anyway. So that, you know, everyone hates high gas fees, but the reality is that high gas is pretty bullish for ETH because it means people are willing to play that game even when fees are insane. And it's also a metric just to tell you, are people using the chain, right? We know it can't scale, and that's not going to change anytime super soon. So if fees are above 100 for fast transactions, then it's painful, but it's probably more bullish than bearish, honestly.
Yeah. I mean, I think layer 2 scaling on ETH is closer than it ever was on Bitcoin whenever Bitcoin was dealing with similar stuff. Personally. Arbitrum's launching. Like, there's several competing layer 2s that are all launching, and DeFi protocols are endorsing them at the same exact time.
For BTC, I didn't feel safe until SegWit was actually like live, and I will be the same with ETH. It's not going to be reality until it's actually implemented on these exchanges.
SegWit wasn't implemented on most of these places until mid 2018 or something, right?
Right. And I don't think Binance even has it implemented yet. I could be wrong on that.
Yeah.
But
And
they were one of the laggards.
And I think if you get a large percentage of DEX trading, for instance, on a layer 2, that's far more impactful than SegWit was on Bitcoin, because all the traffic occurring is on-chain trading.
Yeah, that's fair.
If you move those themselves to layer 2, then you should be Gucci.
And I think we're closer to the ETH people talking about lowering the gas ceiling than raising it again. I think they're going to start to say fees are too low.
Oh, gosh.
I think we're going to see that very soon. I don't know. The whole thing is a giant roll of the dice with EIP 1559 coming and proof of stake coming eventually. Who knows? But it's just like there's so many moving parts there to even try to like game it out, you know?
Yeah, perhaps. However, if we get back to price on Bitcoin first, I mean, we're definitely flagging under major moving averages and fast moving averages in the same range where we consolidated and broke up from before. So from a pure percent drawdown, if the market's not dead and going into a bear market, it's probably a good accumulation zone. But it also doesn't exactly scream moving anywhere fast. Like, it looks like it needs to clear 41, 42K before it can like get back into the healthier chop zone, which is like the top third of the price. You know, like 40 to 60K is a much safer place to chop than like 35 to 40. If you have sustained 35 to 40 chop, it makes me feel like we're going lower. Is that?
Yeah, if we break down, which we should, based on technical analysis, I mean, this is a triangle post down move, right? So it's
a
bearish
continuation pattern.
Should be a continuation, and that's going to be 17 to 20. You know, that's high time frames.
Yeah,
we're below the 200-day moving average. That's not great. We're sitting on a yearly pivot. The next one down is 20K. These aren't good things, but it's reality, right?
Does
that mean
that's full out bear market category.
Right? Does that mean I'm short right here? No, it doesn't, because I'm looking at the lower time frames, watching that 4 hour, and we can talk about that. But DeFi as a whole actually looks fine. Question mark? because it's got this W potentially, this ascending triangle that it might morph into. Really what I saw today from Curve gave me a lot of hopium for the rest of the market, because if you look at all of the DeFi charts, they look like this, except for Curve, which broke up over the past 24 hours. Yeah. And there's a lot of volume coming in as well on Binance on a lot of these DeFi coins.
Yeah.
Like big spikes in volume on ZRX, on Band, on just a bunch of like junk, right? Like it doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter what it is.
I say my bags. I say my bags. You say junk.
That's fair. I mean, I'm trading on an enzymes. That's my bags too, technically. But that's a good sign that we're seeing not only prices breaking the horizontal resistance, but it's also on mega volume. We can bring up Curve.
Pickle Scratcher says, isn't a symmetrical triangle neutral or like 52% bearish following a downtrend? A symmetrical triangle is basically just non-biased, but the bias is always in the direction of the existing move. So if you have a symmetrical triangle and you've been going down and now you have a symmetrical triangle, the most likely scenario is further down, but it's an indecisive pattern in the first place. So it just means you're going to have volatility soon and try to play the break or something. And no, 0x is not junk, Angelo. Curve is not junk either. He just meant Curve and 0x and other junk. All the others are junk. I think that's what Josh meant.
Just remember, everything's an altcoin if it's not BTC. Just remember.
Yeah, just remember.
So yeah, this is Curve. This is the Curve 4 hour, right?
Yeah.
And if you use this blueprint for every single DeFi chart right now, it's almost identical across the board to this.
Right. And except for they haven't broken out yet. Like Curve looks like it's leading the pack on volume, breakout, recovery.
Correct.
I think what I find interesting is I think this is directly related to the Convex launch, which is a way for people to get additional yield from Curve. And I wonder if we're hitting a place where like not everything moves lock, stock, and barrel together. You know what I mean? Like DeFi, like the altcoin big moves, it didn't really matter what you held. And I wonder if now it matters what you hold, if that's the realm that we're in. So maybe some stuff will not follow this pattern. Like maybe they'll even break down from these, that's what part of me believes.
That's fair. I think everything, even Link, which historically has been super uncorrelated to everything, is following.
Yeah, it was quite correlated.
Still highly correlated. So until we see the post breakout action up or down from a lot of these, it's hard to say. But yeah, that could be the case.
I would like to see that, because right now it just makes no sense to trade anything independently. Like it's all the same. One other element I did want to highlight was, if we're going full bear market, the ETH BTC chart does not fit that narrative, because when we went full bear market last time, like ETH BTC just bled out, and ETH BTC looks quite strong. And this is another potential hint to me that the market's not over. It's just kind of a reaccumulation phase on the majors, because there seems to still be a lot of demand for Ethereum relative to Bitcoin. But I still want to see, and Don, our buddy Don Alt, had this on point. He was worried, not that Bitcoin was sideways, but that Bitcoin was like trending slightly down while everything was up. And that was his big sign for thinking we needed much more down. I think that was a good point. So I'm fine seeing ETH BTC go up. I'd like to see Bitcoin climb the wall of worry rather than like trickle down, in order to trust the moves. So that's kind of what I'm looking for.
Yeah, we have lots of reclamation to do, right? Lots of mean reverting to do still. I think it's fine to be cautiously bullish on low time frames, but being super realistic on high time frames, that we've lost like every single support. Even ETH had a daily bearish TK cross today, or the last couple days. So none of the trend metrics look good. ETH does have a ascending triangle, or an ascending triangle, again, similar curve, just like everything else. And the expectation is that this actually does break up, versus BTC, which is kind of more 50-50. So I am long ETH and BTC here.
I'm long ETH. I've been playing long ETH on margin, and people were like, you said don't play margin. I said, yes, don't play margin when it's got massive open interest. But if you're going to play it when the open interest has been obliterated and it's down on a significant dip in what you can believe is a continuation of the bull market. So I've been like swing trading it. People basically gave me crap along the entire way of this trade, which gave me added confidence. But ever since 1950, as it kind of recovered that candle, I've been playing some of these swings. However, I do feel like it's where we're either going to get this more sustained push back above 3K, or, I don't know. This is where I want to be a little more cautious. So I'm sitting here in good profit on an ETH long, and also looking at it like this is not where I would probably, like, I'm entering a local resistance if I'm entering right this very moment. So I'm not like super enthused about it, but I am holding my existing position. Does that make sense?
Yeah, you can trade the range.
Yeah.
But I'm kind of on the other side of that, where I'm looking for the range break to the upside,
Right.
So I think both are fair.
Yeah. And I actually am with you. That's what I'm looking for, but I'm
right.
I kind of need it to prove itself. And when you have moves like this and to the downside so strongly, like, it seems like the market's going to hunt liquidity, basically. So, like, where is that liquidity? I do actually think where people will get really excited is where you go from this localized resistance to much stronger resistance. Like, people will be like, "Ooh, yeah, we recovered 3K," and then it gets to 3,100 or something and sells off hard from there, because people are able to get exit liquidity there. I think that's the type of risk that you run once you're up here.
Aren't fees or funding still negative? I'm pretty sure funding's negative.
It's been pretty neutral. I think our buddy Johnny said in a chat that it just recently showed signs of life of people paying to be long to some degree. But it's not like punishing funding. It's very, very modest. So it's healthy funding.
Yeah, so worst case for me on ETH is 600 and BTC is 17.
Oof.
That's worst case.
That's game over stuff though. That's just like reaccumulation. Like,
I mean, You know, I think MACD, daily MACD on ETH looks fine for the first time in a month. It's going to flip green probably today or tomorrow, but the trend metrics are super mixed. We're above the 20 on the weekly ETH USD pair, at least, you know, so there's that. That held.
Yeah.
And sorry, I'm tried to mute myself. And we're also above the 200-day moving average, like I already said. So I don't know. Stuff's all over the place. I'm just watching low time frames. BTC, the 4-hour cloud, it has a bullish edge to edge thing trying to work itself out here for the first time since we dropped below the cloud. So
yeah, I think I'm in on spot. I have no plans of selling spot, and my question is, how long do I hold my margin longs? That's kind of where I'm sitting. You know,
yeah, I mean, I think if we start making lower lows instead of higher highs, then that's it, right? Like,
yeah,
there's your answer. You know, it's kind of like that simple at this point.
You remember the ascending triangle? You and I talked about this for months back in 2017 when ETH went to 350. It went to 400 at the top, but like got a weekly close at 350, had a huge dump, and then consolidated for months. And then it went to 1400 after that, no 3x. That's what I actually think is your like hyper bull case. Is we go all the way back up to 3,800, 4K, and we consolidate on a weekly time frame, and then we pump in the fall. Like we go in the fall, we go from 3,800, 4K up to 8 to 10K, and that's how you end the cycle. I think that's very possible, and that's my high. That's my high conviction play if we get that set up. But that's also that's betting that we're not going to sit here and just go like straight to new all-time highs. So I'm going to continue to play these ranges. It's a range trading environment in my mind. What do you think about that possibility?
Yeah, it's not a set it and forget it type situation anymore. That's over for sure.
Yeah,
it's definitely a watch lower time frames, set expectations based on higher time frames.
Be willing.
If anything, that'll be a cleaner trade to get in and out of.
Right.
You're not expecting.
Be willing to take your profits.
Right, exactly. You're not expecting 10K anymore. You're expecting whatever the range will give you,
Yeah, John Bishop in the chat asked, what are your hedging strategies? And is it options, to use options? Mine is not options. Neither of us have good exposure to options as Americans. But even if I did, I wouldn't, because the IV would be too high as a pure hedge. So for me, it's basically to sell at resistance, certainly on margin, but also start to put myself back into at least partial cash at various times if I feel like that's the best play for me. But I will probably maintain some degree of long exposure until I feel like the market is truly done.
Until the day I die.
I have to find like pure macro invalidation levels to say like, okay, I'm in cash and nothing but cash. Currently on BTC, it might be like if we went back up to like 48, I might actually go to cash, because then the risk reward is not very good if we get rejected by underneath the consolidation that we were in back then. But it'll probably depend on like how does that compare to the alts that I could be in and that kind of thing. So I probably won't be in cash, but I probably won't be in Bitcoin either, if that makes any sense.
I think anything above 45 is a gift. Anything above 42,
a gift to take profit.
Yeah. Anything above 42 at the 200-day moving average is a gift. Anything above 48 is like amazing. Love it.
Yeah. On the downside, a weekly close below like 32 is just where I think you get massive selling.
The market is just so disconnected and so not even bipolar, but just like look at what an Elon tweet can do on anything. That's a 5 to 10% move, and if you're on leverage in a range, you're just going to get destroyed if you're on the wrong side of that.
Right.
So it's so hard to like really want to get into a big position on leverage here.
Here would be my goals. I want to stay concentrated, not be in a whole lot of different things, because I want to be able to move quickly, and I want to stay liquid, meaning I can get in and out of few things quickly. If I can do that, I will hope that I can be nimble to current market conditions as we approach these potential complacency target type upside. So if we go to 48K Bitcoin, I want to be able to exit quickly while taking advantage of market moving potential on the way up. I also will probably like start to steer back towards majors, as in ETH and BTC, as the market further recovers. Those are the things that I'm going to do. And that's how I'll hope to preserve my capital. I made it out of this whole thing despite having spot exposure throughout it, not wrecked because I had no margin exposure and I didn't sell the bottom. You know, if you count top, like breakdown to bottom, you survived, and you're down what, 20%, 25% on spot based on where we broke down from, like to where we recovered to today. It's not as bad as it sounds. Now, if you sold the bottom, if you got liquidated, all those types of things, then sure, it's horrible. But survival sometimes is just like using common sense, right?
Yeah, you can't, I was selling all the way down, including the bottom. Yeah. I sold, I won't say it because it doesn't matter, but I sold some BTC and ETH near the bottom for sure. Because what scared me again was that the second dip after the big DeFi liquidation, at that point, I was thinking to myself, what else is there to sell, right?
Well, that's kind of that's why I didn't sell. Is like
that's what scared me though. Like, who is selling here? What else is there to sell? We've already liquidated everybody, you know, like what else is there to do here? So that's why I got super concerned. I'm like, okay, I had the little remaining whatever I had that wasn't in cash already. So
but you were pushing heavily to cash well before that. Like the market closure. Yeah. So you avoided the top side of the drawdown, whereas I didn't. So I was certainly not going to like risk selling the bottom. I was just going to like,
sure,
clench my butt cheeks and hold on.
Yeah, like for sure.
I've been in here long enough to know that I will get a complacency bounce of some sort. But usually if I try to sell and ask for the complacency bounce later, I will not be happy about that.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, I should have known better. I was just like, wow, what is going on here? Something else that's weird that's going on is Dixie is still ranging at the lows, DXY.
Well, I mean, this is back to, I don't even know when, 2018 or further, a super multi-year level that I feel like it's doomed. It looks absolutely atrocious, but it's also at the floor, like what do you... So I think it can take some time to break down. But it looks like it's going to 86 to me. And when it goes to 86, you'll hear about it loud and clear from all markets. Like that's the potential like blow off top in legacy to me is that further breaks down, that's where gold finally moves and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, what I don't want to see is this mean reverting if I'm bullish crypto or looking for anything bullish crypto. I don't want to see stocks break down if I'm bullish crypto. Seeing what happened today with BBBY and AMC.
Very concerning.
More insanity. AMC was up, 100% on the day?
Yep.
I don't know what it closed at, but mayhem. Absolute mayhem.
It is. So if you look at gold, like gold finally looks really strong. Like it's back to its 2011 all-time highs, which it had broken late last year, and then just had this brutal dumping consolidation, whatever you want to call it, that bottomed at the apex of the 2013 consolidation. Like it's very technical, and it recovered off of it. But like you did not, if you were a gold owner anytime in that period, you were just in like pure depression mode because every other market in the entire world, every other commodity, every equity, every fake digital money like Bitcoin was pumping like crazy while your precious metal was just going down. Now it's recovered off of that and it's in a no trade zone now. Like it's right at the highs. It's either the complacency before a sell-off, but my actual gut feeling is now it's going to break up and go pretty hard finally. But it's been a painful trade for those gold folks. It's been the laggard of all commodities.
Yeah, and seeing that rise is concerning because it's been uncorrelated with BTC, and seeing stocks inevitably decline.
That doesn't that makes me think. This makes me think of the dollar. It doesn't really make me. I don't care about the correlation of gold and Bitcoin right now.
Well, it bothers me because if people view gold as the inflationary play over crypto, then, crypto's the risk on, right?
Yeah. I mean, certainly it seemed like the correlation between like crypto and the NASDAQ it seemed really tight of late.
Yeah. It's like 90+%.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess in that sense it's possible, but overall I'm just going to act like they're not related markets.
And this is silver. Silver looks amazing to me. It's ascending triangle, whatever, flagging, whatever you want to call it.
Super strong consolidation, but like constantly tapping the ceiling, making it look like it wants to go higher.
Yeah.
G squared called dump solidation. That's what gold's thing was this last year. Did lumber? I know it dumped at one point. Did it recover? What was the situation there? I'm just trying to get.
I don't know what the ticker is for that.
I got it. I'll pull it up. I keep an eye on it since I'm building a house.
LL, is that it?
No, it's LBS1. Yeah, look at this chart. Like this looks like it looks straight up like Ethereum. Like it's ridiculous. What's gonna happen here? Like these dailies are obscene. But I've been talking to builders, and this is very much on their minds. Like the price of lumber is such a huge part of these construction projects. If this continues to go up, it really puts a lot of pressure on the real economy. People like me trying to build, and like they all have line items in their contracts that are like, this is the price except for if lumber continues to go up. And it finally dumped about a week, but that's like at the same time crypto dumped. It recovered, dumped again, and now it looks like it's got this Chad candle today. So maybe it's just in this long period of consolidation. I don't know. But yeah.
I mean, everything's mooning in a bad way.
I know. Yeah. Like
inflation is 5 to 10%. Who knows what it actually is, but used cars, going to infinity right now.
Used cars going to infinity, homes flying off the market, lumber up $1 billion. Lion and a what says 100% the everything bubble. And I tend to agree. It feels like the everything bubble. And then like, we're just constantly saying, but don't worry, there's no inflation, or actually there is inflation. It's obvious. What kind of moron doesn't see the inflation? But guess what? It's transitory. It's temporary. And I'm just like, come on, man. Everything's friggin' expensive is what it is. And if CPI sucks, I agree, Jay.
What's always in the back of my mind for crypto though, is like, this is why we're here. It's just like Corona March. It's like, we're here for this stuff. Why are we correlated with risk on? We shouldn't be, but we are.
Yeah. Well,
that's why like, well, if the world actually does go to zero, then crypto's just right there with it,
Yeah. Making full sense of the markets is going to be hard though, when you have stuff like AMC up 100%. And, AMC went directly to the price of the highest possible call strike that existed. Like somebody is just going after these stocks and they're relentless about it. Like this round 2 of meme stocks going up seems to really be occurring at the perfect time for when people probably felt they were safe getting back into their short exposure on these dead companies. Like these are zombie companies, GME and
how dare you,
and AMC are zombie companies. I saw some stat that was like, if people go to the movies like 4 times than they ever did before pre-pandemic, then AMC only has to go down 75% to justify its valuation. Something like that. I was like, okay. In other words, it's far too expensive. There's absolutely zero logic behind it. It's just TikTokers and memes and probably some big hedge funds pushing the narratives. And somebody's making a hilarious amount of money. Lots of people are going broke. And retail is going to end up holding the bag. In that environment, it's hard to tell you, like, how does this macro all line up? Because literally everyone in the entire world of finance is just like shrugging their shoulders. Like, I have no idea.
I think the actual game over is going to be regulatory stuff against retail trading. Like it's already starting across the world, but as soon as they say like you have to be accredited in some way
to trade at all, like
to trade at all,
yeah,
like it probably won't. It won't be
you're accredited. There you go.
It won't be accreditation like it is now. It'll be some softer version of that, but I can definitely see that coming, especially for Robinhood. Like you can't touch anything unless you're whatever. I don't know. I don't even know what the metric they'd use is, but
It is simultaneously so bullish for crypto and so bearish. I don't know what would happen, you know?
Well, China, the stuff that's going on in China hurts all of DeFi because if it's all just disconnected, right? Yeah. Like China, look at BSC, I don't know. Everywhere I look, there's like everything is crumbling from either a regulatory perspective or a risk inflation perspective. But speaking of meme stocks, I just wanted to talk about Doge for a sec. Yeah. Looks like a head and shoulders starting on Doge for sure.
Yeah, but it is up, you know, because Coinbase listed it finally, naturally. I was so shocked that they listed it. I was like, I thought they already listed it. You know, I don't know. I'm just thought it had already been there. No way.
Yeah, dude. I thought it was already there.
But you know how many billions in trading volume they gave up by not having it? My normie feeds, like I don't get them on my like Ledger Status Twitter feed, but on any other Twitter feed, any other like ads that I see on the internet, I am constantly targeted with like trade Doge here ads.
Same. Instagram, Reddit, Webull, whoever else is. Yeah.
And
I agree.
100% that's volume that Coinbase just pissed away. So I am sure whoever, you know, puts the pressure, tightens the screws on Coinbase decision makers, they were like, list Doge, you morons. But this is totally, in my mind, a complacency leg. It may make a new high as that complacency leg. I don't freaking know. I'm not going to pretend to be a genius when AMC goes up 100% in a day. Maybe Doge will go to $1, but I don't care. This is the final leg of the Doge life, and I don't understand how it would sustain anything long term. Sev V says people are chasing riskier returns, and eventually it's going to backfire and pop the bubble. I tend to agree. I don't know. Coinbase itself, the stock around Coinbase just continues to look like Brian Armstrong just slowly and patiently dumping on everyone.
Yeah, it doesn't look great.
Not that I have any insider information that he's dumping. We'll see that in the reports, but it looks like people are taking profit on their long-term positions in coin because no one who's bought coin on open markets is in profit. Meanwhile, GME looks like it's about to go to $1 billion.
Yeah, it looks like 560 or 550, 660. It looks amazing. It looks incredible. It looks pre-breakout. It looks like it's I have no words.
AMC
I
profit.
Don't know why.
AMC profits rolling right into GME. What are the chances?
Basically, yeah. You know, they halt AMC and people just start trading GME, right?
Yeah, Bed Bath & Beyond got the 40% squeeze today. All of that's just a sign to me, and I like Bed Bath & Beyond as a company. It's a much healthier company than these other ones, but it just went up 40% today because they were like, oh yeah, this is that other one with a bunch of short interest. Let's go pump it. And it's just, this is insane. This stuff happening in markets is insane. This makes me just bearish on society as a whole, not just on markets.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, look at what happened with the Doge clones. That made me super bearish on society.
Yeah.
BBBY is still up in aftermarket hours. What is going on?
I almost bought it a couple days ago because I was like, the AMC stuff was starting to heat up again. I was like, I should just buy BBBY. But I liked the value of BBBY when it was a $10 stock, and I don't like it at 30 or 40 or whatever it is.
Yeah. Any other alts we want to talk about? I mean, to me, every DeFi chart looks exactly like this. I did a video for BNC. It'll be out soonish on DeFi stuff, but for the most part, everything looks like that. We went over the BTC and ETH stuff.
Yeah.
It's kind of it. I mean, BSC is just deteriorating by the second, just continually getting attacked. Oh, something else I wanted to bring up was ransomware.
When you say getting attacked, what do you mean?
Well, it's either rugs or
yeah.
Or exploits, whatever, inside jobs. I don't know. Who the hell knows? Stay off BSC. That's all I got to say. But the other thing about this regulatory aspect is the ransomware attacks have just been nonstop in the headlines. And that's going to be in politicians' ears as well when it comes to crypto. So we're going to see a lot of crackdown on that.
Yeah, those kind of narratives are always what the crypto haters will use to fuel their fires. I was going to use Curve as my example. It depends on which DeFi chart you're looking at. I don't know how relevant it is, but I love moving average reclaims. So when something like this is teasing a push back above the 20, back above the 200, it makes me essentially treat this distance between that moving average and the breakdown zone as kind of an air pocket that it can more fully retest. So curve is the type of thing where it wouldn't surprise me if it just like popped back up to $3 or something before it found resistance. And you might actually see some rotation in these coins where you start to see these moves, start to see recoveries in the chart, start to see some patterns form out. But it's going to take time. This is not stuff that has to happen instantly.
Right. We just went from all-time high every 3 hours to now we're going to need 3 months probably to figure out what's going on here.
Yeah. So Josh and I are going to have boring things to say for a while. So it's probably not a big deal that we didn't talk for a little bit. But, I mean, it went down 70% in like 6 days. So am I going to be bearish after that? No. Am I going to expect like $8 all-time highs? Also, no. So I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm actually going to keep my exposure and keep playing convex.
If you put the monthly pivots on all of those DeFi charts,
you probably just bounce between them.
well, no, they'll point out the horizontal resistance as well as the like targets.
Oh yeah.
Basically, I don't know how it looks for curve versus everything else, but basically it's horizontal resistance at the current horizontal and then halfway to the previous range and then a new all-time high. Like those are the 3 levels I'd be watching for, but not quickly for sure.
Right. So yeah, there's plenty of ways that you can look at things, but you know, when there's prices above, it always gives you simpler targets that you can look for because you can do level to level trading, which is not easy to do when you're in price discovery. So while we may not find ourselves in highly trending markets for a while, there's still markets that you can play because you can play level to level. And you can play fundamentals. You can play news. You can play yield opportunities. You can play activity. There's all kinds of stuff that you can do. What is this borrow stuff that you're looking at?
One other last thing we didn't talk about was the APYs are at multi-month lows basically across the board.
On just general lend and borrow rates,
right? There's a ton available to borrow, and nobody really wants to borrow it.
Nobody wants to borrow it. That's
it's another way of telling you like, yeah, we're in a range until we break out. That's probably not going to change as far as the rates are concerned.
Yeah. There's several people talking in the chat about have we looked at stock to flow for BTC, and is it dead? People think stock to flow is dead on BTC. Do you have that handy?
I mean, I do. Was it ever alive?
I don't know. Although, what was the Pi cycle top that we were debating on the show forever, whether it
was the sole accurate indicator that told you to get out.
Time to die.
And I said, ignore it. So, you know, that's how it works sometimes. Can you hide my screen for a sec? Just because.
Yeah, that's fine. I'll just keep showing people the curve chart.
I'll pull up the S2FX is the new one.
I'm just going to run through some of these.
Yeah, I mean, if you are here for the stock to flow, not here as in this podcast, but here as in crypto, you know, what do you care what any of us have to say, right? Like either you're on board with it or not. I don't know. If you're in the hold forever camp, what does it matter if it's broken or not, right?
Yeah. You know, one final thing, like I was looking at Solana and there were several others that were fast movers in the market. All the corrections were basically the same, whether your favorite coin had previously mooned or not. They all went down 70%. It didn't matter. So it's not like, oh, that one ran so hot, it's going to correct more. They all corrected the exact same amount. So like following the fast movers was definitely the play. However, I think those fast movers might take a little more time to recover than the other ones. That's my theory, from a relative value perspective. All right, stock to flow. Is it broken? It doesn't look broken. It looks fine.
I don't know what the criteria is for breaking this, but we're currently $90,000 below the expected stock to flow. Can we deviate from that? Of course we can, but I don't know. I never know how to read this other than it looks good.
It's below the expected value line. I don't
care about
stock to flow. But the chat wanted to know if it's broken. Bitcoin is a value investment based on stock to flow. That's what you can say about stock to flow.
Sure. I mean, all the metrics reset across the board on chain-wise. MVRV, PUL, NVT's way down. It's not like zero buy territory, but it's way down from where it was.
I honestly think I don't think we're going in like straight up bear market. I actually think there is a desire for absorption of coins, majors, Bitcoin and ETH, at the low end of the range that we've already hit. And I never tell people this in bull markets unless we've gone down a lot, and I don't think the market is over, but this is a fine time to accumulate. If you don't have exposure to the market, this is where you would do it. Of course, the people that wanted exposure to the market when Bitcoin was at 65K now are asking us if we're all right. They're not asking how do they get in anymore. That tells you something. To me, that's like, I'd much rather just re-enter now if I was going to re-enter, because your downside's way less. If we enter a bear market, you could still lose money, but you would not have bought the absolute top. You would have bought the 50% discount, and if it 50% discounts again, then you have time to continue accumulating if that's your desire. So if you're listening to this, if you're fairly new to crypto, you don't have as much in crypto as you wanted, not that this is financial advice, but my personal take would be this is where I would continue to be a buyer. And honestly, that is what I'm doing. As I have income or whatever that I can allocate to crypto, I'm perfectly happy to buy ETH sub 3,000 on spot. Perfectly happy. Because it's going to 100K. The people needed 100K Ethereum Hopium before we left the show, Josh.
I don't know about that, but I'm just going to trade one day at a time, right?
I do think it's going to 10K. ETH to $10. That's not what I meant. Does wash trading apply to crypto? Says TBM. No. In the U.S., you can you can sell and rebuy in the same day, and you don't get wash trade flagged.
I am not a lawyer. I am not an accountant. I don't know. That's my answer. Officially, for the record.
Yeah, for the record, that we're not lawyers or accountants, but for my personal opinion and how I've played this before is yes, you're allowed to do tax harvesting in crypto because it's not security. If this actually was a cycle top, downtrend, bear market coming, shakeout retail, then super cycle, sure, double bubble, Crypto Jack, down with that. And shout out Crypto Jack. I mean, he was like all over toppiness, and I ignored him, and he nailed it. We'll just do a couple AMAs before we go. I'm a lawyer, but I don't know the answer either. Let's see. Are any of these questions? Look at the ETH monthly candle. It was the Star Wars meme. It was
all the way
that's up, great. All the way down.
I've never seen a longer legged doji than that monthly ETH candle.
It is pretty incredible. Here, I'm going to pull it up for the chat because I know they want to see it. Actually,
yeah, that doesn't look bullish to me. I'll just be clear on that in case that wasn't clear already.
It's only fun if you both pull it up and put it in linear. Because if you put it in log, it's just boring. It's just like, oh yeah, sure, it's a doji. Then you turn it in linear, and it's like, oh my god, it's pretty insane, man. And it looks just like the June 2017 candle. Like, I'm going to just back this up. Just back it up.
June 2017?
Yep. It looks just like it. Look at that.
I don't know about just like it.
It went to 0 and 400 in the same month. What else could you ask for?
June 2017?
Yeah.
On what exchange?
On Coinbase.
Oh,
because remember that was when that's when they turned off their margin because it went to $18 or something.
That's one exchange. That's
Jack
not the
says
whole
I
market.
haven't seen this. Jack, it's okay, man. It's okay. If we clear 2772, that's the monthly high, then obviously the target is back to all-time highs at 4,400. That's how this works, right? It's no big deal.
I'll get bullish on ETH again when we're above 4,400. How about that?
I'll buy at new highs.
Yeah, why not? I mean, I don't think it's going to happen. That's why I don't have any problem making that statement, you know? I'd rather buy the strength than buy whatever the flip-flop fishing is that's going to be down here.
I just think prepare to get chopped, sir. Look for individual, isolated, news-driven events to trade, and other than that, don't freak out. TBM says you've been listening to Cred too much. Cred always says just don't buy until it makes new highs. Like he's not interested in Bitcoin until it's over 64,000, which is perfectly fine.
That's fair.
Buy high and sell higher. Guess what? You still make money when you do that.
There you go.
And yeah, it's fine.
That's all I got.
That's all I got. Let's call it a day. Thanks, chat, for being here. We'll stick on for a minute, answer a couple more questions, but the podcast is already bored with us. So we appreciate y'all being with us. If you like this, go check us out on iTunes and all those places. Talk to you next time. Bye-bye. Oh.
Monuments crumble.
Go to ledgerstats.com/sets.
In the blink of an eye, the easy river has just run dry. In a house of cards, I feel the breeze wound so tight I can barely breathe. Oh, the